I mean, I study demonology and things. I just love the word Beelzebub.
Freddie Mercury didn't just sing songs. He lived with them. Every note was a performance. Every performance was a confession. While the world saw the peacock on stage, the man behind the voice was a collector of beauty. He absorbed opera, rock, jazz, and soul like a sponge soaking up water. Nothing was too grand. Nothing was too small. If it had feelings, Freddie wanted it. Born Farrokh Bulsara, he remade himself into a legend. The teeth he hated became his trademark. The shyness he felt became fearlessness on stage. Mercury understood transformation because he'd lived it, and the albums he loved most were the ones that showed him different ways to be brave.
Scheiße and Dummkopf and all that. And that's all I've learned. So, I mean, I don't really speak German.
Different ways to be free. Different ways to take your pain and turn it into power. His favorites weren't cool or obvious. They were honest. Some made him dance. Some made him cry. All of them made him feel alive. Because for Freddie, music wasn't background noise. It was oxygen. It was proof that life could be more than ordinary. These 7 albums taught him how to be extraordinary. Here are the albums Freddie Mercury loved with his whole heart. The ones that made him who he was. Subscribe if you believe music should make you feel everything. Which one do you think changed him most? 7. I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You. Freddie Mercury bowed to one voice above all others.
Some time ago I thought
Aretha Franklin. When I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You came out in 1967, it didn't just sing. It testified. It preached. It commanded respect without asking. Aretha's voice could whisper or explode.
Aretha Franklin's phrasing is just wonderful. I wish I could sing like her.
She could break your heart with tenderness or rebuild it with power. Freddie heard that range and knew he'd found his teacher. This was what a voice could do when it held nothing back. The title track opened with raw blues and heartbreak mixed together. Respect took a song and made it a revolution. Do right woman, do right man, prove strength didn't always mean volume. Sometimes it meant knowing exactly when to pull back. Aretha controlled every moment. Every breath had purpose. Every note landed where it needed to. Freddie studied that control like a student preparing for exams. He wanted that same command, that same presence. What destroyed Freddie was Aretha's emotion. She sang about pain like she'd earned every scar, about joy like she'd fought for every smile. Nothing was fake. Nothing was performed for show. This was pure soul poured out for anyone brave enough to listen. Freddie learned from her that technique meant nothing without feeling. That perfect pitch was worthless if the heart wasn't in it. Later, when Freddie sang Somebody to Love, Aretha's ghost was in that church piano, in those gospel harmonies, in that cry for connection. Aretha Franklin taught Freddie Mercury that the voice was an instrument of truth, and truth demanded everything you had. 6. Electric Ladyland. Jimi Hendrix showed Freddie Mercury that rules were meant to explode. Electric Ladyland arrived in 1968 like a bomb wrapped in velvet. Hendrix took the guitar places it had never been, made it scream, whisper, weep, and laugh. He painted with sound, created colors that didn't exist.
Our music was very pompous and very serious, and people thought, oh God, what a load of bores, you know? And at that time we were getting a bit serious.
Freddie heard that imagination and recognized someone who refused to be limited, someone who saw music as an infinite possibility. That freedom called to something deep in Freddie's soul. Hendrix didn't just play songs, he built worlds. Voodoo Child summoned thunder and lightning. All Along the Watchtower transformed Dylan's folk into electric prophecy. 1983 drifted through space and time like a dream you couldn't quite remember. The album sprawled across 4 sides because Hendrix had too many ideas to fit in less space. Freddie loved that ambition. That refusal to shrink himself to fit expectations. Hendrix was a showman, but his show served the music. Always the music. What fascinated Freddie was the theatricality. Hendrix played guitar with his teeth behind his head while doing splits. But it wasn't just tricks, it was an expression. His body spoke the same language as his guitar. Performance as art, art as performance. Freddie absorbed that lesson completely. Later, when he prowled stages like a caged animal finally free, Hendrix was teaching him. When he dropped to his knees mid-song, pouring his soul into the microphone, that was Hendrix's influence breathing. Electric Ladyland taught Freddie that being too much was better than being too little. That spectacle and substance could live together. That the audience deserved a show, but the show had to be real. 5. Led Zeppelin 2. Freddie Mercury heard Led Zeppelin and felt power in his chest.
Happiness, no more be sad.
Led Zeppelin 2 came out in 1969, and it was rock and roll stripped down to pure force. No apologies, no gentleness, just four men creating thunder.
Yeah, who do you think I meant?
What are their names again? No, it's all right.
Stop that shit. I sometimes forget them too.
But you don't.
Robert Plant screamed like a man possessed. Jimmy Page's guitar cut like a blade. John Bonham's drums hit like hammers on anvils. John Paul Jones held it all together with bass and keyboards that rumbled underneath. Freddie heard that power and wanted it. Not to copy, to match. Whole Lotta Love exploded with sexual energy that couldn't be contained. Ramble On proved they could be delicate when they chose. Heartbreaker showcased Page's guitar like a weapon being sharpened. But it was Plant's voice that grabbed Freddie's attention and wouldn't let go. That high wail, that swagger, that confidence that bordered on arrogance but never crossed the line. Plant owned every stage he walked on. Freddie studied that ownership. What Freddie loved most was Zeppelin's dynamics. They could whisper and you leaned in. They could roar and you stepped back. They controlled the room completely. Soft to loud, quiet to chaos. That mastery over tension and release became essential to Freddie's own writing. Bohemian Rhapsody lived in those dynamics. Soft verses to operatic thunder to hard rock chaos. Different sections, different moods, all one journey. Led Zeppelin taught Freddie that a band could be a single organism, four parts making one unstoppable force. That power had to be earned through tightness, trust, and total commitment. Zeppelin gave Queen their backbone. 4. Liza, with a Z. Freddie Mercury worshipped Liza Minnelli.
Baby, baby, bunting, daddy's gone a-hunting, daddy's gone.
Liza, with a Z, captured her 1972 television concert, and it was pure theatrical magic. Liza didn't just sing, she performed. Every gesture mattered. Every facial expression told a story. She commanded attention without demanding it. She made the difficult look effortless. Freddie watched this and saw a roadmap. This was how you own a stage. How you make every person in the audience feel like you're singing directly to them. Only to them. Minnelli moved between cabaret, jazz, and Broadway with total confidence. Bye Bye Blackbird swung with joy. Ring Them Bells built to an explosive climax. She danced, sang, acted, and made it all look like breathing. Freddie loved that completeness. That refusal to be just one thing. Liza was a full artist using every tool available. Voice, body, face, soul, all of it in service of the performance. What killed Freddie was her vulnerability wrapped in showmanship. Liza performed with everything she had, but you could see the person underneath. The fear and courage mixed together. The need to connect fighting against the need to protect yourself. That contradiction lived in Freddie too. The showman who was secretly shy. The peacock who was actually fragile. Liza showed him that vulnerability made performances stronger, not weaker. When Freddie performed We Are the Champions at Live Aid, Liza's lessons guided him. How to work a crowd, how to make huge feelings intimate, how to give everything and somehow still have more. Liza Minnelli taught Freddie Mercury that performance was an art form, and art requires your entire self. 3. Abbey Road. Freddie Mercury heard Abbey Road and learned what ambition looked like. Released in 1969, this was the Beatles at their creative peak. They knew it was ending. They made something that couldn't be ignored. Side 2's medley showed what four musicians could do when they stopped caring about rules and started caring about legacy. Songs bleeding into songs, ideas connecting across melodies. Freddie heard that ambition and recognized his own dreams reflected back.
Freddie always had a good voice. That's always been the anchor of that group, I think.
You could do anything if you were brave enough. Come Together, grooved with dark mystery. Something might be the most beautiful love song ever written. Here Comes the Sun offered hope after darkness. But it was that side 2 medley that changed everything for Freddie. You Never Give Me Your Money, flowing into Sun King, into Mean Mr. Mustard, into the rest. Different moods, different styles, all in one piece. That showed Freddie that songs didn't have to be 3 minutes and separate. They could be adventures. What amazed Freddie was the Beatles' fearlessness. They had nothing left to prove. They could have phoned it in. Instead, they created a masterpiece. They pushed boundaries even as they said goodbye. That dedication to craft over commerce influenced everything Freddie did. Bohemian Rhapsody was born from Abbey Road's medley. Different sections. Opera meeting rock. Ballad opera becoming an anthem. The Beatles showed him the door. Freddie walked through it. Abbey Road taught Freddie that you honored your gifts by pushing them to their limits. That, playing it safe, was the real risk. That legacy mattered more than money. 2. Various opera recordings. Freddie Mercury found his soulmate in opera singer Montserrat Caballé. Her voice soared to places rock voices never reached. Pure, powerful, technically perfect, but still deeply human. Freddie collected her recordings like treasure. He studied how she controlled her breath, shaped her phrases, and made impossibly high notes sound easy. Opera taught Freddie that the human voice was the greatest instrument ever created, and Caballé wielded that instrument like a sword made of light. What connected Freddie to Caballé was the emotion behind the technique. She didn't just hit notes perfectly, she meant them. Every phrase told a story. Every held note carried weight. Freddie heard that marriage of technical excellence and emotional truth and knew that was what he wanted. Not just to sing well, to sing meaningfully. Eventually, Freddie and Montserrat recorded an album together. Barcelona merged opera and rock into something new. Two worlds colliding. Two voices finding harmony across impossible distances. Montserrat Caballé taught Freddie Mercury that excellence demanded discipline. That the voice was a muscle requiring training. That perfection and passion didn't fight. They danced. 1. The Beach Boys. Freddie Mercury's #1 choice surprised everyone who thought they knew him. The Beach Boys' Smile Sessions. Brian Wilson's unfinished masterpiece that finally got released decades later. But Freddie had heard bootlegs for years. Good Vibrations and Heroes and Villains showed him what pop music could be when genius went to war with itself. Wilson layered voices like instruments, built castles from harmonies, made teenage surf music into symphonies. Freddie heard that ambition and recognized family. Wilson's vision for Smile was insane. Different studios for different sounds. Tiny sections recorded separately and puzzled together. Harmonies stacked until they reached heaven. The music was joyful and paranoid at once, playful and desperately serious. Wilson was trying to capture something impossible. The feeling of innocence mixed with knowledge. Youth, meeting mortality. Freddie understood that impossibility. That's what Bohemian Rhapsody tried to capture too. What destroyed Freddie about Smile was its ambition exceeding its reality. Wilson aimed too high and crashed. But the pieces that survived were stunning. Surf's Up was a heartbreaking prayer. Our prayer made voices into a church. The fragments showed what could have been. Freddie learned from that. Dream big, but finish the work. Push boundaries, but bring it home. Wilson showed him what happened when you flew too close to the sun. Freddie Mercury never did anything halfway. These 7 albums taught him to be bold, theatrical, technical, and fearless. His voice soared because these voices taught it to fly. What album lives in your heart forever? Share it below. Subscribe for more stories of the artists who dared to be legendary.